We're online. Welcome to the Special Engineering Committee meeting of, this is the February 13th, it's 4:30. Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, both directors are here. Mr. Bartz, is there any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda?
I motion to approve.
A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Public comment, is there anybody? We have no public present, nobody online? Okay, that makes that quick. Minutes, item 3, did you have any changes to the minutes, or were there any changes to the minutes? No?
No. I motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Brings us to item 4, which is review of 10-year capital and repair and maintenance plans for the 24-25 budget. Who will be leading this?
And let George.
George?
Yep. Yeah, I can start the first part and I'll have Sean finish up. At the last committee meeting, we went through the capital improvement projects. And what you have in front of you are the changes, and they are in red. So we can go through if you'd like. With item number 1, we shifted over the $150,000 from 23-24 over to 24-25. The next item, well 16, is now relabeled to 18. And well 18 is the well adjacent to well 15.
Well 18 is now adjacent to well 15.
The reason we don't have it labeled as well 16 is when we drilled well 15, we had a backup plan in case that we hit a duster, so to speak. CEQA was completed on, and we needed a numerical value to assign to it. So well 16 in the district's plan actually would reside at the fill station. CEQA has been performed at that site, and again, this was a backup and an insurance policy to well 15.
Okay.
So it's accurately titled in our CIP document that it's well 18.
So a new well down there would be well 18.
Correct.
That's correct.
And further on in the meeting, we have some thoughts and some discussion we'd like to have on that as well.
So that's $2 million for 25-26?
Correct.
And the $2 million involves the well?
The well, based off of our
pipelines?
Pipeline. So based off of our well 15 data and finances, it was $1,060,000 to punch the hole in the ground. Some of our larger expenses came from a variable frequency drive for well 15. Potential well 18, we can minimize and reduce the VFD expense by putting a soft start. It doesn't require the same size of pipeline, and staff has a couple of thoughts on location. Based off of what we learned at well 15, if we were to look south by southwest or north by northwest at available properties in that vicinity, based off of water quantity, and we did get our pump test results back from well 15, it's actually better than we had hoped. So it's official at 806 GPM. Pump check confirmed. It's been certified. That is the final number for well 15. So we feel strongly that if we move south by southwest or slightly north by northwest, that we can do it for that cost and comparable water quality and water quantity.
Yeah, and you're not too far to the west, and you shouldn't hit those chromium-6 sediments that are deeper. So
that's kind of, I'm glad we're having this conversation. It'll give staff direction as we have budgeted in the year 25-26 for that project. It would be behoove of us in the district to begin looking at what's available, because CEQA sets us back 9 to 12 months. With that being said, in the year 25, 26, it would be good to get that on the forefront of the direction. Mr. Roberts, I agree, south by southwest, but not too far west, because we try and balance where's existing infrastructure, and we now have that 12-inch pipeline. Where's available power? Three-phase is very limited out there, and going just south by southwest of that pipeline that is installed gives us the opportunity to piggyback off the electrical that's now feeding well 15, and it does have the capability of feeding an additional well. It is a 12 kV system, and the calcs we saw off well 15, it does have the capacity for another 200 horse. That kind of gives staff some direction. We can start keeping an eye out on what's
Yeah, I
out
think
there.
a minimum of, 1,000 feet plus would be fine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then our, for the Reservoir 6A project, the proposed 1.5 million gallons, that $2.7 million also bumps out to 25, 26.
Yeah, that's where we're applying for some funds, correct?
Yeah, that's the 2 million from
Those are
the
federal. Yeah.
federal grant, and then the kind of matching the 700,000 from the district. We don't have any questions on future reservoir site. Those items remain unchanged. Item 2, Civic Center project. We adjusted real numbers for 23, 24, and that's current, and it could change next month with additional scope or any changes in the work that's required for approval on this project. We moved the 8 million over to 24, 25. Same with the 500,000 to 25, 26. So those costs were shifted over for construction. Item 3, that is the water master plan reservoir, the proposed recommendations. We moved that over another year from 26, 27 to 27, 28. In item 4, the water master plan pipelines as well, those are recommendations. We shifted those 4, is it 4? Yeah, those 4 over 1 year. We also made the changes to the description of those projects with the replacement and an install with.
Yeah, thank you. It looks good.
Item 5, we did the same with the description. Item 6 remained unchanged.
So those funds are designated for basically 2032 plus? Is that what it is?
And yes, and again, that would just come with growth. Those were considered the, not priorities, or this is like future. So we'll probably see that in the next master plan. And that'll be adjusted. Item 6, Smith and Springs, that remained unchanged. Item 7 for land, that's future expansion site. That's whether it's well site, reservoir site, just that's a placeholder for any properties that do come up, that is budgeted. And then item 8 is well 16, which is the site on Sheet Creek. The CEQA was performed for 15 and 16. That's been pushed out at 29, 30.
We're keeping that as a placeholder and an additional insurance policy should potential well 18 once again be a duster. We have a contingency. Line 9 is our meter replacement program. You'll notice that's sunsetting. We'll get to the quantities here in a little bit, but that project's wrapping up as we speak. Line 10, our booster and appurtenance replacements. We wanted to break that out and show exactly where that is slated to be spent. And the lion's share goes to the electrical panel replacement. That is because our panels are very old. We can't even get components to some of these. We've resorted to eBay. And we've actually started casting and making some of our own parts. That $135,000 is going solely to electric panel replacements. Line 11, reservoirs in the year 26-27 for the future growth, a larger 500,000 gallon at Site 2. Line 12 for our urban water management plan, and 13 for our water master plan, and update to the hydraulic model. '24-25, we have one field service truck and nothing as far as line 15 for servers and hardware. And then that brings us to our 10-year repair and maintenance plan. In the year 24-25, we do have the last large contractual payment to Superior Tank. Line 2 is our pressure PRV station maintenance. Line 3, we have budgeted for emergency well rehab and also some scheduled well rehabilitation work. Line 4, we've asked for a $5,000 increase because the cost to turn over and overhaul boosters just continues to rise. And the reality is just that materials. So we've lowered the quantity in years prior. That used to be 5. We've reduced that to 4. Line 5 is our SCADA, basically just site upgrades and maintenance. Line 6 is our PRV, our emergency PRV maintenance. 7 for our service line replacements. And you might ask, why the $30,000 increase? That's due to Municipex. We used to pay about $1.80 a foot, and today we're paying $5.10. $5.20? $5.26 a foot.
It's tripled? Wow.
It has. We had some special pricing arrangements. Those have since ceased. So that's market rate on Municipex. That is our district standard. So that pretty much answers that. A little bit more of a substantial increase in that line. And then our water pipeline lowering, you might ask why the decrease. If we kind of remember back to Wilson Ranch and Sonora, that's because we're not lowering pipelines anymore. It's just cheaper to bring in that Class 2 base and turn it into a flight strip like we did on Wilson Ranch. And we're able to reduce that cost by about half. Line 8, our solar O&M. 9, our maintenance contract with Tesco. Line 10, we also were able to reduce our UCMR 5 sampling obligation is even lower than the 15. We're finalizing that. If you bear in mind, last year we had asked for 25. It's going to be under $10,000. We just want to make sure that the EPA doesn't hit us with any follow-up sampling, so we've asked for the 15,000. And just our standard CAL FIRE vegetation mitigation there on line 11.
So do you have any questions or comments?
No, not right now.
I just had one thought, was the electric panel replacement. That's basically going to be an ongoing annual thing. You want to move it over to the repair and maintenance part of the, just was thinking because it's stretched out. So it's not a one-time or a 3-time deal.
It's not, because we do have 36 booster sites. These panels are averaging over 40 and 50 years old, and we're just not able to obtain some of the replacement parts. Just this last summer, we fused 2 main panels at Site 1B and 1C. Those main disconnects is from the transformer into our station. We have one left. We bought the last one off of eBay from the Bay Area. So those are our first 2 that we'd like to replace and modernize. We're hoping we can do 2 a year with the $135,000. And Availability and size do play into that, as well as amps, so it's kind of a case by case. We will do the best we can and be good shepherds with that.
The only reason why I was suggesting that was it's for capital improvements, and the 10-year maintenance plan is basically, that might fall into that. Think about that anyways.
We'll put a note on that.
Because we've got, it's gonna be ongoing for an extended period of time. So if that's going to be budgeted for quite a while, then maybe it should fall into the maintenance of the system.
General Manager Bartz, would you like us to move that to the O&M?
You can think about it,
I want to take a good look at it first.
yeah.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Everything else looks good. No other
No,
thoughts?
thank you.
Any other comments on?
Could
On
I
our
ask
plan?
a question? I'm sorry.
Oh, we have somebody online. Peter Barnes, yes.
Thank you. I had a question about line 4 under the enterprise section, the booster rehabilitation. Actually, I just had 2 questions. Question 1, you said that you lowered what you do per year from 5 to 4. Is that sufficient? I mean, I'm just wondering if that could have an impact down the road if we're not doing 5 a year.
It is sufficient. In prior years, as we've been targeting 5 in conjunction with just our failures, in the past several fiscal years, we've done more than 5. So we were able to reduce that number while maintaining our long-term objective. All of our older boosters have an older style packing gland, and we're switching over to newer ones. Yes, 4 does meet our maintenance needs throughout the distribution system.
Okay, okay. And just a follow-up on that, I was just curious because you bumped it to 85,000, but then that stays at that level across the board, whereas in line 7, we've got, you've got the PEX pricing going up, you said?
We
So,
followed-
and it goes up every year, right? So is that, I'm just curious, do you anticipate the booster rehab staying there, or do you think that we might have to bump the budget up down the road?
Potentially. We felt it prudent to leave that at the moment. We're not seeing the material influx on the boosters because typically we overhaul the existing pump. So it's less of material volatility and more fixed labor costs that we have by virtue of our pump and booster maintenance contract, as where line 7 you're referencing, we're subject to market volatility on that Municipex pricing. So that's why we built in that little increase. And that's why we chose not to build in that little increase on line 4.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any other, just Peter's online? I guess? Nobody else? Okay. All right. So if there's nothing further with item 4, we can move to item 5, which is the Oeste Recharge Study project.
Excuse me. As reported last meeting, engineering meeting, Mojave did select engineer Ardura to work on the three recharge basins. So they're in the beginning stages of planning, and there's nothing much to report.
Okay. Any questions or comments? No? Item 6, a discussion regarding the water system.
Sure. In the month of January for 2024, we produced 9% less water than in 2022, right at 150.44 acre feet. We sold 4 residential meters. Just keeping in mind, we sold 56 in 2023, 86 in 2022, and 95 in 2021. Well 14 has produced, being January, just 0.08 acre feet. We're really trying to minimize the usage at that well to mitigate costs to the district. Our service line replacement program, we did replace 6 services. That's been a little lower than in years past. And as we finish the meter project in the coming month, we really do anticipate that swinging back into full force. We want to try and kind of catch up, if you will. Our air vac maintenance and flushing, same thing. As we finish the meter replacement project, our customer service department is going to be tasked with flushing and maintaining our air vacs. The water meter replacement project, as of today, there's 284 left. 284 meters of the old style. We're going to have that done here in the next month or so. And yes, I know the field staff's very excited to have that one sunset. Our outfitting, equipping of both well 15 and well 17, everything's done. Pump tests are done, samplings are done. I'm just waiting to get the permit in our hand. I met twice with our sanitary engineer. I saw the draft report a week or two ago. It's pending the supervising sanitary engineer. As soon as the district supervisor signs off on it, we're free to run it. But again, we've pump tested, everything's ready, it sits idle. Our SCADA panels for well 15 and well 17 just came in. We're going to have those in the next week or so, and our new asset will be ready for the summer. Site 2 Booster C failed months ago with the pump test from 15 coming back a little bit higher. We're going to go ahead and upsize Booster C a little bit. George and Tony helped me with a hydraulic model. We're increasing the flow out of Site 2 by about 200 GPM. That's important, kind of paving the way for well 18 in the future. Kind of looking out, if another 5, 6, 7, 800 gallons a minute into Site 2, we got to be able to transition that water and get it out further into the system. And upsizing this failed booster is going to let us do that more efficiently. Site 1B, Booster A, the motor failed thanks to that last storm, or Tropical Storm Hillary. The good news, that went in today. That site's back at full. Same with Booster D. That storm also took out, it phased out. What that means is one of the 3 phases fell out. The motor savers kicked in, but not fast enough, and it fried both those, but they're both back online. Our well meters and intertie meter efficiencies have all been completed as of last Friday. We're currently testing the electrical efficiency. All the wells are done. We're finishing up the boosters. Every dead end in the system has been flushed, and we're in the midst of our tank washouts. Site 4A will be this Thursday. We're also sending divers in to 1A, that's that tank we had with the leak, tomorrow. So cross our fingers, the divers find something that we could not. We have high hopes. And happy to answer any questions. The conversation about well 18 and where to place it will help staff begin to evaluate potential properties in the area. Again, we're going to weigh infrastructure, existing, electrical. North by northwest is more appealing, and I know Director Roberts, you feel the same as I on that one. The availability of 3-phase power north by northwest of well 15 is limited. We'll compile some maps and bring that back for consumption at the meeting and kind of talk it out and figure out where we want to put the next one. We'll also be doing like a ribbon cutting as soon as I have the operating permit for well 15. Just don't want to schedule that until I actually have the permit in my hand. So,
First new well since the district started.
and it's a good one. Happy to answer any questions.
Have any questions or comments?
I just want to make sure that I understand. So for well 18, what you're looking at is placing it close to well 15 based on the fact that we have enough electricity, you're saying, to that site to actually run 18.
Correct.
Okay.
And the predominant factor in placement is proximity, less for electrical, more for pipe. I think we called on pipe last week, 8 inches kind of normalized. We did see it up as high as $40-something a foot. The other day when I called, it's 23 and change. So we're kind of seeing that volatility kind of float out, luckily. Some normalness is returning some. But the 1-inch gate valves we used went from 50 some odd dollars a piece. They spiked to 230, so we went with a different manufacturer and supplier. And we found them for $20.01. It's really weird that some materials seem to take off and then kind of mellow back out, but that's
Not one of them.
the supply distribution right now. But luckily pipe's returning, so we have to kind of balance that cost versus what we have budgeted.
Okay. And then can you explain to me a little bit about what you were talking about? You said not too far west, because if we drill too far, we'll hit more of that chromium-6 problem?
Yeah, so the chromium is mostly concentrated in the deeper alluvium. And along the county line, some of the wells go to 1,000, 1,100 feet.
Okay.
And just based on, we went to 1,000 in the new well, but I don't think there's too much water coming out of the bottom 200 feet. So not extending it too far down, I think we can avoid those sediments and have low chromium
Okay.
water. I mean, the new well has no chromium,
Yeah.
basically, so.
Yeah, perfect.
But as you moved west, that's where you encounter the deeper sediments,
Okay.
so.
So we would take that into consideration when we're looking at properties.
Of course.
Okay. Awesome, thank you.
Okay, anything else on item 6? Any questions from Mr. Barnes?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Okay.
But Mark, are you saying drilling a well 1,900 feet wouldn't be something you'd do?
No. You're correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Item 7, Smithson Springs.
We have CAL FIRE crew scheduled for next week to come up and begin the vegetation mitigation up there, and it's thick. The roads are in real rough shape. It's very thick up there.
It's thick up there. Lots of water the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Plus, we had the summer rain, which flooded everything.
I haven't been up there since the last storm. We have to repair the road until we can get a vehicle back in there.
Yeah. Okay, item 8, state regulations update. Is there anything new? Nothing coming down on the chromium issue yet? Okay. Item 9, review of current projects. Start with well number 15.
Awaiting operating permit, otherwise it's ready to go.
15 and 17 are just about both done.
They're done. We'll be equipping them with SCADA. The panels just came in last week. And as soon as we have those permits in our hand, they'll be turned to the distribution system.
Well, when the permits are in hand, we can strike them off of the agenda. And then the future well 18, you're going to bring back some information for discussion on that.
We'll begin analysis and bring that back for the committee's consideration.
And tank 6A,
Just got an email today from Dotson and Associates that the study is complete, the draft. They had just received the bio report. So we're kind of moving into a review internally with Tom Dotson before we have next steps.
and then waiting on financing.
Yeah, we're so far out of the game with this. We talked about transition this over to NEPA, but we have to wait until we get to the state or federal to even discuss what that NEPA is going to look like. So currently, it's just the CEQA.
Wait for a budget to come out, because there's no budget right now, so.
Yeah, I mean, but it's there.
Okay,
Yeah, design, proposal for design and a geotechnical, I mean, we're not really pushing for it, but it's out there. So we're receiving proposals for that work.
okay. Any other questions? Item 10, staff report. Anything further from staff?
I
No.
have none.
I have nothing further.
Item 11, review of action items. Let's see, the prior meeting, we had OSD numbers and return flows. That's being worked on, correct? Update CIP and bring repair and maintenance plan for review. I believe we've done that. Those were the only two action items. Anything for the current meeting?
Just looking into potentially moving the booster electrical panel replacements to repair and maintenance since it's ongoing.
Yeah, that's internal, okay. Setting agenda for the next meeting, which is on here, it's labeled March 20th. Any specific changes? I guess we'll have some if some of the wells get certified.
Yeah, we should be able to strike a few things at the next one.
Okay. All right, so we'll leave that as it is. Any other comments or questions?
I'd just like to thank the field staff. When we took on the meter replacement project in-house, these guys have worked their hands off. They've done 2,400 or so here in the last 6 months. I'd just like to congratulate them. That was an awesome effort on their behalf.
Well, between the meter replacements and the pipeline being put in, they're gaining a lot of experience
Yes, sir. And
Excellent.
calluses.
in calluses. All right, with that, we will adjourn at 5:02. Thank you.